Hello everyone, welcome to fourth of our tutorials. This tutorial is going to be about the modeling process from zero to a more like what we call a finished model. It's not going to be fully done, it's going to be extras later on, maybe a part 2 video. But today we are going to start from zero, that we have a file that I created specifically with the needed families, so you don't have to look for the families and try to find where to put them and so on. So I go to open, and here I have my file. It's called Tutorial Modellierungsprozess. You can download it from Tuvel. I will be uploading it as well. I just go and open it. So as you see, I have a blank page right now. We are in the Ebenen 0. There is only one more thing. It's Lageplan. We have a 3D Ansicht, 3D Ansicht, and we have our four Ansichts, so North, Ost, Süd, and West. So I will first start setting up my project file. What does it mean? So before I start, I have to know what my boundaries. Therefore, for my Grundriss boundaries, for my plan boundaries, I will need grids. On my architecture tab, at the end, there is the Bezug part, which I have Raster. So the shortcut is GR. Okay, right now I'm able to draw a raster. So I just draw my first vertical raster, and as you see, it's named tree. That's because I already draw another grid before, which I deleted already, and the name was 1 and 2. So Revit automatically remembers that and creates the third one. We are going to change that, it's no problem. I just come here, double click, make it 1, and I click enter. Now I select it, I go to copy, and I want to copy it to distance 9.6 meters. Perfect. Now I want to have also horizontal grids. I go to raster again, I draw 1. As you see, it's now 3 again. It's because I already drew 1 and 2. Unfortunately, Revit doesn't recognize that we draw a horizontal grid, so it should have a different naming type. So for example, an alphabet like A, B, C, D. So therefore we have to rename it again. I press escape 3 times. I double click on the grid and make it A. I select it, I press copy, and I bring it down 9.6 meters again. Now this square in the middle is what I need, but as you see, my grids are a little bit overhanging. I want to drag them in. This small lock icon indicates that the both parallel grids are aligned together and locked together, so when I move one of them, the other one will follow. I do the same thing with the bottom part and left as well. Alright, this was the first part. Now we have to make the levels. I go one of my Ansichts because I have to see my project from the side. I go to north, and as you see, I also see my grids, which I can make a little bit higher. I only have Ebenen 0. Now I need firstly 3 basic levels. One of them is going to be my ground floor, which is Ebenen 0 right now, and I want to rename it. I just click once, and here I have to change my name parameters word. So it has to be EG for Erdgeschoss, Oberkante, Fertig Fußboden, FFB. And it has to be 0 meters high. This asks me if I want to rename my views on the project browser. I click yes. Alright, this was my first. Now I need one more for my upper limit. I select it. Now I have an option if I can click Ähnliches erstellen, or I can just press CS from my keyboard. Now I want to draw one more. Now, as you realized, I have drawn it from left to right, which made it have a tag on the right side. If I would do it other ways around, I would have a tag here instead, which I don't need right now. I bring this also short, as we don't need it to go that far. Now, this level is to be named OG1, so OG1 is Obergeschoss 1, OK, Oberkante. And the height, and the same question, I click yes, and the height has to be 3.4 meters. I click OK. Perfect. Now I need just one more, which is called the Gebäude Oberkante. I select it again and I press CS. So originally my last level has to be 300 centimeters above. Sorry, 330 centimeters. So it's going to be 3.7. Instead of drawing a new one, I want to show another method. I go Linien auswählen, and here I give a Versatz, which is 0.3. Now, when I pick a line, it's going to create my level accordingly. Here, I want to pick this one. As you see, when it's floating, hovering above the line, I'm going to make my second level above. If I hover it down, it's going to be bottom. Perfect. I click escape twice and I rename it. It's going to be GOK, and then the height is 3.7 already. Now they can stay this close together, but I don't want them to, so I just click on this Bogen hinzufügen. Then I move this up. Now I have set my levels and my grids. Now it's time to start drawing. I go here to Erdgeschoss, Oberkante, Fertig, Fußboden. I will just call it Erdgeschoss from now on. And now I press this Inaktive Ansichten schließen button to close out my other views. It's a habit that I have that I already closed the extra tabs, so my model works faster and it's easier for me to find what I'm looking for, so they don't pile up here. Now we are going to start setting up our wall types and floor types right now. First, we are going to start with exterior walls. I go to the wand. The shortcut is WA. And as you see, I only have wand. So I specifically deleted everything else. So I go to Typbearbeiten because we are going to need some wall types. My first one is going to be Stahlbeton 200 plus Wärmedämmung 200. 200 here is for millimeters. And now I created a new wall type, but it's not yet changed. I go to Bearbeiten. So I have a tragende Schicht, no materials assigned, and the size is 50 centimeters thick. Now, I stated that it's going to be 200 millimeters. So in case you have received your paper, your assignment, and it states there it has to be 200 millimeters, and you're tired and you don't want to calculate it, how many meters was it. So you can just type 200, then mm for millimeters, and press enter. It's automatically going to change it to meters because our project units are set to meters. Now I go to nach Kategorie. It opens up my material browser. There are lots of stuff here which we don't need anyways. I need beton bewährt. This one. It might be assigned like this. You may need to change it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But from the muster part, you can change the muster, the pattern here. And the color you can change from here. In this case, it's going to be dark green. I click OK. And then I need one more. I need my Wärmedämmung. So my Dämmung has to be outside of my kern, so core. So I click Einfügen. It automatically creates it above. In this one, I'm going to make nicht tragende Schicht 1. And the thickness has to be 200 millimeter again. And then the material, I have to pick Dämmung Hard, which I have here, and assign with the correct color. I click OK. And it's set. So I have my two materials, one of them Ortbeton bewährt, and then the other one is Dämmung Hard. And I click OK. I click OK again. Now it's set. Let's set our other walls before we continue. This is a habit that I suggest you to have. If you know what you need to draw, first make your types, then you draw freely without working on them. So I go to Typbearbeiten again. I go to Duplizieren. Now, as you see, automatically it made it 201 because Revit understands the numbers and automatically assumes that I am going to make a new one. So it gives me the number 201 instead of 200. Very clever, though what we don't need. So what I need is a Attika wall, which is going to be Dämmung, Beton, and Dämmung again. So in the beginning, I add also Wärmedämmung. This time it's going to be 50. And plus Stahlbeton 200 plus Wärmedämmung 200. Okay, I go to Bearbeiten. I already have it set. So I just click Einfügen, select my tragende Schicht, the new layer. I click nach unten until I bring it down in the bottom. So this means I am going to have my core, and then above it, or like in this case exterior, I have a Dämmung, and then interior I have another one. And this one has to be 50 millimeter. And the material has to be same as Dämmung Hard, which we have above. So instead of going to the material browser, I just come here, Control C for the copy. I copy it. I select the nach category and copy paste. When the name is same, it selects the material automatically, so you don't have to go to the material browser. It would save you a lot of time if you have lots of materials installed, and the material browser can be a little bit laggy. I click OK. So I have my two types, and then I need two more for interiors. I click platzieren. Okay, this one I'm going to call Ziegel, and it's going to be 200 millimeters. So I erase these two. It stays 0.2, and then I have to change my material. I go to Malwerk and Ziegel. I click OK. This is also done. Now I have one more wall which is called Innenwand Trockenbau. I go to platzieren. I name it IWTB, and it's going to be 100 millimeters. First, I'm going to make it 100 millimeters, and then for the material, I will pick Dimensionen Weich, the orange one. Click OK. OK again. One more time. So I have created my walls. Now, if you want to remember which one was which, you can actually name them accordingly. So in this case, Typbearbeiten umbenennen, and I want to call this Attica, so I don't forget. And then I pick my exterior walls. I call them Außenwände. So I know which is which. It's a good way to practice so you don't forget which one you are going to use later on. Okay, I want to make my Außenwände now. We have set almost everything we need, so all I need to do is arrange the parameters. First, my Abhängigkeit unten has to be Erdgeschoss Oberkante fertig Fußboden, that's correct, and the Abhängigkeit oben has to be OG1, okay. So, it's automatically 3.4 meters, and here on my basis line, which I can change also here, I want it to be tragende Schicht Außenkante. Why? We're going to see now. So there are different ways to actually draw, but I prefer to draw in lines, or in this case you can use a rectangle too. I click once on the corner and I drag it all the way down to this side, and I press one more time. This is what I wanted. Ignore the lock icons. I don't want to lock my walls to my grids. Escape 2 times. Now let's see if I'm correct. I go to an Ansicht, and yes, my wall is starting from Erdgeschoss OK to Obergeschoss OK. Perfect. Now we set our first walls. It's time for the Attica wall. I go to OG1, okay. Somehow I don't see my A and B grid. I checked it out and I couldn't find the reason why, but when I delete my grids, redraw them, it is visible again. So I'm assuming that's just Revit messing with us. Can happen time to time. Now, my grids will help me out while drawing my Attica wall, but if you are not sure whether you are drawing on the correct way, you can go to here Unterlage, and here Bereich Basisebene, you can make it EGOK anwenden, and now I can see the walls underneath. So I press WA on my keyboard for wall, or in this case wand, and I pick here my Attica wall. Now it's going to be tragende Schicht Außenkante again. Now this time when I draw, the inner part has to be a little bit bigger, and it looks correct. So if my test was correct, then I have to use my rectangle to arrange it. Looks perfect. Now, as you may realize, I have forgot to change my Abhängigkeits, my parameters, but Revit automatically arranged them. Because last time I used my wall tool, I picked a level and I picked the level one above. So Revit understood that, and when I was in another level, it gave me the same option. I picked my unten type as the one I am on right now, Obergeschoss 1, and one above is my obere Abhängigkeit, my upper constraint. Thanks God Revit is clever. So I escape twice, and here you see my Attica wall. We will need sections now. I come here to Schnitt, or I go to Ansicht, and then Schnitt. I click once, I click twice. I'm going to name it AA. I escape out 3 times first, escape for 3 times. I double click on my Schnitt name here, go there, here I click on Benennen, name it AA. Perfect. Looks correct right now. I go back to my Grundriss, I select my section, and I press CS on my keyboard to create similar. And I draw one more level, one more Schnitt, this time vertically. And I'm going to name it BP. Perfect. We have 2 sections, 3 levels. Well, with the Lageplan is 4. We have 1 3D Ansicht, 4 elevations for Ansichts. Everything is perfect. Now we need to create floors. So I go to Geschossdecke. I have only one type again. I go to Typ bearbeiten. I go to duplizieren. Now my first one has to be Wärmedämmung, and the Dämmung is 50 millimeters plus my beton, so it's got Stahlbeton 200 millimeters and Fußboden 180 millimeters. I go to bearbeiten. Thanks God I have already my Stahlbeton, so in this case Ortbeton material set. I click einfügen twice, one of them to up, one of them to bottom. So this is going to be 180 millimeters and this one is going to be 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters one is going to be Dämmung, heart, and the upper one has to be Fußboden. In this case, I will go with Fußbodenaufbau. I click OK. OK again. Now, here I can pick either Wände auswählen tool to pick my walls, which is a good option, or I can draw by a rectangle. Honestly, I will be using a rectangle tool mostly That's what I like, but you can just go with the Wände auswählen tool as well, which is also efficient enough. In this case, you can also click this little Spiegeln button to move inside and outside of the core. As you see, it only goes through the core, not above. Let's keep it like this. It has to be in the middle of both layers, in this case, end of our core. I end the Bearbeitungsmodus and I go to my section. Looks perfect. Of course, the corners need some editing, but we will come to that. Now let's go back to our Obergeschoss one, Oberkante. Or I want to show a different technique. I go to my section. I select the Geschossdecke. Now here on the left, I have in Zwischenabgabe Ablage kopieren. I press on this drop down, on ausgewählten Ebenen ausgerichtet, and here I pick OG1 OK. Now it just copied what I have upstairs here to OG1 OK. Okay, now I go to Typ bearbeiten again. I go to platzieren. Now what I need is Deckenaufbau 200, Dämmung 200 and Betonbewehrt 200. I name it Stahlbeton 200 mm plus Wärmedämmung 200 mm plus Deckenaufbau 200 mm. I click OK. Now I just need to change my position for the Dämmung. I move it up and I'm going to make it 200 millimeters. And I'm going to make my Fußbodenaufbau also 200 millimeters. Let's check out what material we have. Let's say Deckenaufbau. But we don't have that. But let's say I want something like a gravel maybe. Or let's use Fußbodenaufbau again. Fußbodenvlies can be. Okay, let's go with Fußbodenaufbau. Click OK. OK again. And voila. Our new Geschossdecke is also set. You can also check on BB. Now, of course, as you remember, we have to connect them. I just select my Geschossdecke. I go to Verbinden. I select my Geschossdecke first. I select my Attika wall. I select my Geschossdecke again and I select my Außenwand, exterior wall. Now this time I select my exterior wall and select my Attika. I do the same on the right side. Perfect. Now, before we make the bottom part, I want to say that just connecting them wouldn't do the job. As you see, my left side stayed upper. So there's a small trick to do that. I click escape twice. I select my wall. I go to Typ bearbeiten. Bearbeiten. And now I click this Vorschau button on the left corner. My Ansicht type, I change it to Schnitt. Now when I do that, My indent button is active now. I click on it. I select the bottom part of the magenta part, and then I click on this small lock icon. I click OK, unwenden, and OK. Now as you see, I have two arrows, and then I can move this separately. But more importantly, as you may realize now, on the left side, I have a different parameter opened up. Verlängerungsabstand unten. So I need to make it minus 0.43, I guess. Yes. And I do it on this side as well. Minus 0.43. Now I can go to Verbindungen and connect them together. Looks perfect. I go to my AA section and I repeat the process one more time. Yep, it's done. Looking perfect. I go to my 3D view and see if I missed something out. Looks good. I close the unused layers and I go to my Erdgeschoss. Yes, an expected thing happened. So as you see, when I made my connections, when I made my joints, my corners are kind of messed up. To fix this, I go to Ändern. I come here to Wandverbindungen. Now I have to select a corner. I make it, it can be Gärung, can be rechtwinklig schneiden, but I prefer Gärung. I do this on this side as well, on this corner too, and one more time. Perfect. I escape 3 times. Now it looks perfect. We have very nice sections and we have very nice Grundriss as well. I press WT to see all my views together. Looks great. Additionally, you can get rid of these. We have connected this and this, this and this, but we haven't connected this with this part. So therefore we have this small line over there. You can do it. It's better to get rid of those extra lines that we don't need. Perfect. I escape 3 times. Now it's time to place our windows and doors. Now it's time to place our interior walls. I just close my tab view by pressing TW. I zoom in. I go to wand. Thanks God I already created my wall type, so I don't need to again. So it has to start from EG Oberkante and is OG1 Oberkante. Everything is perfect. Now I have to draw some kind of sort of a cross first. Doesn't matter where they are right now. And I need one more. I'm just going to leave it off. And then I need IWTB Innenwand Trockenbau somewhere here. As you see, I didn't give any distances, any length. because I'm going to arrange them now manually. First things first, I select my Trockenbau. Now I select this as 2.8 meters, but this includes the 20 centimeters we have from the door as well. So it has to be 3 meters, but with the extended 20 centimeters, I have to call it to 3.2. Now, if I place a dimension, it's 3 meters. The distance from the wall inner side has to be 2.3. Perfect. Our orange wall is now perfectly placed. Second one is this one. First of all, it has to be aligned with the Trockenbau. So I go AL for align, ausrichten, and I pick the exterior side of this orange wall. And then I pick the edge of my Ziegel wall, and it aligns perfectly. I escape 2 times. I select my wall, and I have here my temporary dimension, which has to be 1.5 meters. Perfect. Now, as you see, my section is cutting through the wall, which I don't want, so I move my section a little bit down. Let's start with another wall. This one. The distance has to be sort of 2 meters 20 centimeters approximately. So from here until here it has to be 2.2. 2.2. And then distance here has to be 1.1, which I aligned perfectly, but let's type again. So this was 1.1. Now, as you remember, I left this one a little bit short. The reason is I just want to show you a tool that you can use. The distance from here to here has to be 2.15. Now, you can drag this, but, well, that's the easy way, right? Let's go with something different. Mehrere Elemente stützen dehnen. I select this part, and I select my wall. I escape twice. Looks perfect. Now I finished my inner walls as well. Let's check our sections. Looks good. Only this wall here is not connecting with the Decke. I select my wall. Let's select the correct wall. Go to Verbindungen and select it. It might be hard to see any difference here now because there are multiple walls crossing over, so it's better to make them in 3D. As you see, I can still see my walls, inner walls, not connecting with my Decke. I select my Decke, I go to Verbinden, and I select each of them one more time. Now when I go to my sections, everything looks perfect. Yes, we have set our walls and our floors as well. Everything looks perfect. Now it's time to place some windows and doors. I go to Architecture tab. I go to Fenster. Now, first window I want to put is here. I want to put it on the exterior side, not the interior. So I just move my mouse and hover over the exterior part. I place it randomly. So there are certain parameters that I want to change. I click escape twice. I go to Beschriften. I go to nach Kategorie Beschriften. And I select my window. This gives me this architektürliche Breite, so which is width, and Höhe, height parameters. So they are right now 94 and 95. I want them to be 2.05 and 50. I first selected. First things first, what I want to do is to arrange my construction part, which is my Einbautiefe, my Abzugs links, rechts, oben and unten. And then I want to change my width and height parameters. First I go to Einbautiefe and it has to be 0.2 meters. It makes it align to the core, edge of the core. The second one is Abzug links and rechts. These I want them to be 5 centimeters. Both. Perfect. Now, as you see, my Architekturlichte changed. It's now 90 and 95. Now I go to Schwelle Brüstung now, and it has to be bound point 65. That's also changed. Perfect. Another one is, I go to Typ bearbeiten, I go duplizieren, and this one I call 2050 millimeters times 500 millimeters. I click OK. Now, my Breite and Höhe are right now both 1 meters, but here I see 90 and 95. So this is like 90 centimeters and 95 centimeters instead of 100. So that means my Breite has to be 10 centimeters extra than what I give here. So if I want to have 2.05, I have to make it 10 more, so it has to be 2.15. And also my height is right now 1, and it has to be 5 more, so I make it 1.5. In this case, it has to be 50, so it's 0.55. I press OK. Now it's 205 and 50. Now, I want it to be clear. The reason it happened is because of these Abzug links and Abzug rechts. As you see, my total Abzug is 5 from each side, which makes it 10 centimeters. So it has 10 centimeters cut from my main width. So I go di for dimension, and I check my dimension in between, which is 2.05. But the main width is 2.15. That's why we have to arrange the Breite, aka width. So now let's check it in our section. I go to my AA section. It's up as it should be, nicely. And this time I have to change my Abzug oben or unten. So Abzug unten I leave at 0.02, but oben I want to make 5 centimeters. Perfect. But now, as you may guess, something has changed. Now it's 48 here. The reason is that, as I explained, I made the Abzug oben 2 centimeters more, which cut from my Architekturlichte 2 centimeters. So I change my height to 57. I go to Anwenden. I go OK. Now let's check out our section again. Perfect. It looks nice enough. I just need to check if my Schwelle Brüstung is at the right place. Perfect. I delete my dimension. So now I go back to my floor plan. Now we need to place a couple more windows again. Let's start with the bottom part. I come here, I go to Architektur, Fenster, and it has to be fixed again. I place 3 of them this time. I escape. I select one. Now, I have to arrange the parameters accordingly. It has to be again 0.05, 0.05, 0.05 again, one more time. And then the eye motif has to be 0.2. This time my Schwelle Brüstung has to be 0. Yes, perfect. Now I go to Typ bearbeiten. I go to platzieren. This time it has to be 100 times 215. So 2115. Sorry. 2150. I change my Breite accordingly, so it has to be 10 more. So it's 1.1, and my height is now going to be 2.07. Sorry, it has to be 215, so I need to add 7 more, 222. I click OK, and I want to check my Beschriftung if it's correct. And perfect. It's looking great. Now these two I can either arrange again, just let's delete them, select one of them, and the distance I have to arrange now. I select this temporary dimension node and move it up to the corner, and then drag the other side in the middle of my window. It has to be 3.23. Now, yeah, you can just move the Beschriftung also. Now I'll select my window, I select my Beschriftung. Well, let's actually do it like this. Go Beschriften, nach Kategorie Beschriften. And here now I select it one more time. I escape twice. I select the second one, move it inside, and change it to FBH. Perfect. I will explain why it's 0.02 and not 0.00. I select it, I select my Beschriftungs, I go to copy, I select the middle of my window, I bring it to right, it has to be 2 meters. And one more time, 2 meters. Perfect. You can actually cancel the Führungslines. Yes, looks better. Now I go to nach Kategorie Beschriften and put my Beschriftung also here and make it same. Well, the same reason it's 1.67 and not 1.65. You actually need to make it 1.63. The reason for that is I go to Typ bearbeiten, and here I have Fensterbachdicke Innen. So it's 0.02, and my Schwelle Brüstung parameter is set to take it from the Brüstung from the Fenster bank. Now, if I go to detailed view, so this is where my Beschriftungen actually reads. So in this case, if I make this parameter 0, it actually solves my problem. But then I don't have any Fenster bug inside. So I make it 0.02 again. I go to add Geschoss. Now we need one more fixed window, which is going to be on this side. I select one of these. I click on Spiegeln, Achse zeichnen. I find the middle point of my wall. I select it once and I draw a horizontal line. Oh, diese Elemente werden gelöscht because abrechnen. When we go to Spiegelung, we have to pick kopieren. On my previous files, it was always automatically on, so I forgot that. So I picked this middle point. Yes, now it looks perfect. So it's on the right side. All right, everything is fine. Now, of course, it has to be different dimensions. It has to be same as this one. So we just select this and change it to this one. Great. The reason is the Beschriftungen has to be 1.63. Yeah. Other than that, everything stays the same. Now I select it, go to Beschriften, Kategorie Beschriften, and I pick twice. So, sorry, only once. And escape twice. Again, Kategorie Beschriften and select it. Select the window again. Be careful not to pick the wall or it gives a problem because we don't have any wall Beschriftungen installed. I change this and I cancel the Führungslinie. Alright, that looks good enough. Just you need to arrange the position of this. It has to be, well, let's see where it has to be. It has to be 2.2 from this wall. Looks good. Now, as we finished our fixed windows, we have to start placing our corner windows, which is a special window type called Geschossdecke. Now, I will use the same method. This time I go again to this side, I press spacebar once, turn it on the right position, I escape 3 times, I select it. Now, let's check out what we have now. Now, the parameters has to be again changed. These ones has to be 5. Yep. And then the Einbautif has to be 0.2. Beschriftungen has to be 1.63. And then I go to Typ bearbeiten and create a new type. Go to duplizieren, it has to be 2050 times 500. Okay, just click OK. Then Breite, let's give 2.05 and 0.5. Let's see how it's going to work. I just select it with move tool on the corner and I place it to the edge. I go to Beschriften. I place my Beschriftung and it is 243. I select it again. Now it has to be 215, so 205. So I just need to add 5 more. So it's 2.1. And then the height has to be 40. Instead of 43, it has to be 50. So it has to be 7 more. So it's 0.57. I go Anwenden. Okay. Looks perfect. Now, of course, it changed the place a little bit. I go to Verschieben again. I pick this bottom corner and move it back here. Now I have to copy it. I select my Beschriftung as well. I go to Spiegeln Achse zeichnen again. Kopieren is active. Now I select this corner and then I select this corner and it's copied it the right way. Looks perfect. I select both of them. I go to Spiegeln Achse zeichnen and then I pick this middle point and draw a vertical line. Perfect. Now we have our corner windows as well, and as well as our fixed windows. There is only one corner left, and let's do that. So it has to be a full window like these are. I come here to Architektur, Fenster, and then I pick this one. Seems like okay. I place one. I select it and make the arrangements again as before. Looks good. Now Architektur, Beschriften. Nach Kategorie Beschriften and I pick it. 105 to 215. It has to be 215, that's correct. And the schwere Brüstung is 0, perfect. But the Architekturlichte width has to be 100. So I just make minus 1, minus 5, 1.05. Anwenden. Click OK. Perfect. Now I move it to the corner. I select it. I select the Beschriftung. Before I do that, I place another Beschriftung. Escape. Make it FBH. And Führungslinie cancelled. Well, this can be a little bit on the left. Now I select my window and my Beschriftungs. I go to mirror again to copy and I copy it like this. Yes. In this case, I don't need this one. I delete it because this represents now both of them. Looks good for me. I go to 3D, see how it looks. In general, it looks as I want it. There is only one issue here. Let's check out Typbearbeiten. This has to be also 0.02. Okay. Yes, it's now looking good. I just want to make these a little bit shorter, these metal parts, and that's Wandaufbau außen, which is 0.02 is enough. Now I want to do it for everything. I go to EG. This is a tip. I select everything. I go to filter and I just pick windows. I'm Innenwände, okay. And then here now I see the parameters. I'm afraid because they are not created in the same family, I guess, we don't have the parameters shared for us, so I have to pick them manually. So I pick them, and the one off by Austin has to be 0.02, and then for the fixed ones also the same, 0.02. By the way, to pick them multiply, I just select one and I press Control or Steuerung-Taste from my keyboard and I start picking others as well. To cancel something I picked, I just press Shift button and I select the selected object again and deselect it. Alright, now my windows looks great. My section has to be here. I just moved there to check something out. And I need a couple more Beschriftungs. So I go to category again. I pick these two. And then this time I find my window again. The Fenster is to be up here. AF. Make it F Bohau. Select without the Führungsline. 1, 2, 3, 4. Select it, move it inside. Select it, move it inside as well. Well, let's move them a little bit up so they don't cross each other. Perfect, and this one too. Looks great. Let's move them also a little bit down. Yep. And this one to the right. All right. They all look nice and neat. Now it's time to place my doors. I go to Tür, and first I want to put my house Tür. So I need it 90 by 210. I select it. I place it here right now randomly. Escape twice. Select it. The distance has to be 95 from the exterior wall to the middle part. It's so 0.95. It's just aligning with my wall. I can make my detail now to grob. I guess well, grob is too much. Let's make it Mittel. Yes, better. Now for my wall, for my door, it has to be Fußbodenaufbau 1.A is okay. Einbautiefe has to be 0.2, like my windows. Other ones look right. Now I want to make a Beschriftung again. And perfect. It's 90 by 210. You can move it a little bit to the inside so it's visible nicely. So I need interior wall, interior doors as well. I come here and this pick the Rahmenstück Flächenbündig 80 by 200. So I press spacebar once to change the direction. I place it just here and this one here. Perfect. This one is in the correct state, but this one has to be 75 from here. I created a dimension which I don't want to. It's going to be 0.75. Nice. Let's also go to Beschriften and put categories to them. Nice. It's looking great, actually. Everything is neat. Now, let's start our last part, which is placing the Beschriftungs in general, like dimensions or like the room tags and everything. I will start out with the room tags. I go to Architektur. I go to Raumtrennungslinie. First, I want to select where my rooms are. So walls are automatically creating boundaries. So when I place a room tag, it automatically finds the enclosed space. But in this case, we have a very open space. So when I pick a room tag, it's going to be looking like this, because there is no boundaries here, and therefore it's recognized as one room. But here, for example, I already can place my tag here as well. Nice. Before I place it here, I want to make the Raumtrennungslinie, so room separation lines. I select it, I draw my line, I draw one more line from here. Now it's important where I draw the line. If I draw it here, it's going to give me different information. It has to be like this exactly. Also in this part, I escape once. Now, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I have 4 different rooms now. I escape twice. I go to Raum again. Now I can place my tags. So you better try to place them aligned to one each other, so it looks more organized. This one, of course, has to be like this. Now, yes, I escaped twice. I placed totally 6 rooms. They all named as Raum, and there is a question mark underneath. And there I see my square meters. First things first. As you see, when I hover over my tag, I can only pick the tag, which in this case doesn't give me much parameters, but I want to pick the room itself. So I escape once, I come over my tag and I press tab button, Tabulaturtaste, twice. And when this X mark, this blue X mark with the boundaries is shown, I click. Now I selected my room, and as you see here, I have the ID date button from my room. The room number can stay the same, it's not important. The name, although, has to be bureau in this case. There is already a bureau in this project. I press once, and then there is this Fußboden. Fußboden is to be Parkett in this case. That's the question mark. As you see, it changed automatically. Now, I want to close out this. Well, kinda. So I want to show you how to change the room colors and the Farbschema later on. I select my other rooms as well to change their parameters. So this is going to be Schlafen. And the Fußboden is Parkett. One more time. And this one is going to be Bad. and the Fußboden will be fließen. And then here we have WC, and the Fußboden is fließen again. Here we have floor, and the floor Fußboden is parquet, and lastly I have Wohnküche, and then the Fußboden is parquet one more time. Perfect. Now I place them. I want to change the color scheme. It's going to be a representative colors. When you go to the Farbschema on the Eigenschaften panel, it's like keine Auswahl automatically. Now, if you see here, there's only one Schema 1, which has no information whatsoever, which is not what we want. MEP is for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which is for engineering projects. And then I pick Räume because that's what we want. And now there are different ones. So this is, for example, the quadrat meter one. It's like a minimum and maximum square meters, and it colors them according to that. In this case, we want it to be Bodenbelag. Now I go to duplicate, duplizieren. I want to call it Einreichsplanung, or just call it Einreich. Well, it has to be, I think, Einreichsplan. Better. Now, for the Fliesen, it has to be sichtbar, first of all. The color is schwarz, but the Vorschau has to be Kreuz in this case. Well, automatically it comes as Flächenfüllung or keine. In this case, you have to find a Kreuz, which I think I passed, 2.5 by 2.5. And then for the parquet, it has to be brown and Flächenfüllung. Anwenden. Okay. Now it looks perfect. I have this brownish grayish color. And then I have my Fliesen as Kreuz. Kariert, mostly. So, what else we need? We need a elevation mark, spot elevation. So I go to Beschriften, höhenkote, and here I pick Grundriss gefüllt, because we are on the Grundriss. I place it just right under my Wohnküche. I escape once. I don't want the Führung and geknickt selected. Well, geknickt comes with the Führung, so you can just cancel the Führung. Place it once, and place it once more. Escape twice. Perfect. Now, let's make our dimensions before we go to the section. I go to DI for dimension. My first dimension is interior and here, 2.3. Second one is from here, here, and here. Perfect. Next one, this one, here, here, and here, and lastly here. I just click somewhere that is not selecting anything. Now this one is finished the interior dimensions. Now let's go to the exterior ones. Alright, let's do it. For the exterior dimensions, EI, I first start with the full exterior, which is like 10 meters. And I do it on all sides. And then I need to make exterior walls. And then windows middle points. So we just need to move these a little bit down like this. Now I have changed some things here, so I want to mention about that first. Here it shouldn't be AL 100, it has to be AL 105. So therefore it has to be 1.1 meters. So instead of 1.05 we made previously, 1.1 it has to be. I realized this mistake when I was editing the video, so I remade this part. It's just the one thing you have to change, and then you have to arrange the position of the windows again. So let's go to the other side. DI for dimension. This time I choose a different path. So I pick Wände and I want it to be content want. So I pick this wall and it gives me exactly what I want. The reason is that it just gives me the wall that touches to this wall. So it's 40, 40 and 920 in the middle. So I go back to Referenzen and then I just pick the window middle points one more time, which I have to move up a little bit more. Nice. Let's do these two again also. Just let's move these a little bit away from now. And then the I, Wände, Kanten. Perfect. Also this side. And now Referenzen. Be careful not to pick this part here. I think this is a reference line that's inside the family of Fenster, so which we don't want to pick. So just be careful that you pick the exterior side of the wall. I do it one more time. And it's done. I just move these a little bit inwards. Perfect. Let's go to our section views and start working on them. First things first, what I want to create is some different levels to annotate my section, but I don't want them to be active in my project browser. Well, how can I do that? I go to Architecture, I go to Ebenen, and then here there's this Draufsicht erstellen button, which is create views. I don't want to create views, so I check it. I don't know what you call it. So I just draw two different levels just here, and then two more underneath my level at Geschoss. So as you see on my project browser, I don't have any Grundrisses created. I escape three times. AL for align. First one I want to align to the green part, which is my core for the Geschossdecke, which is the Rohbau Oberkante, and I align it there. And I do the same for the bottom. I do the same thing here. It has to be aligned like this. Now, when I click this little icon here, Bogen hinzufügen, I separate them, which is a nice tool to arrange the looks. And I do the same thing here as well. Now I want to rename them. I start with Ebene 7, which has to be OK1 Rohbau Decken Oberkante, RDOK. The same thing with Ebene 8, OG1 Rohbau Decken Unterkante. I keep doing the same thing. This time Erdgeschoss, EG, Rohbau Decken Oberkante. And same thing with Ebene 10. It's EG, Rohbau Decken Unterkante. I click OK. Great. Let's check BB and see if everything is okay. Looks really nice. Let's move these a little bit closer. And then, of course, separate them. So, let's start placing our spot elevations. I go to Beschriften. I go to höhenkote. This time I pick Schnitt, gefüllt. So, first one I pick here on the top of my roof, in this case, because this is the Fertigmaß. This is the finished one. It gives me option to place it underneath or up. I place it upwards, and left or right I pick that the dimension is on the right side. So I move my mouse to the left side. Doing the same thing here and here as well. Perfect. I go AL for align. So I pick the middle point of this triangle and I pick this one as well. So they are aligned together. I select it. I go CS for create similar. This time I want to create a layer one for the Rohbau. I place it here. I place one at the bottom. Escape twice. I move it down. I move it up. AL to align them together. And now I select one and I go CS for create similar and I place it down here. I escape twice, select it, I move my dimension, I go AL for align and align them together. Looks great. Now I need to place some dimensions on this side. First, I want to place the dimensions for the main level lines like this. And secondly, I want to place for each layer. Perfect. Let's move these a little bit to the sides so it's readable. And I escape twice. Well, my BB section looks great. I go to AA. I repeat the same process. First, I move them a little bit closer inwards. I go DI. First, this one. And then the other one. Same thing again. Making it readable. I escape twice. Now I go back to Beschriften and I take my höhenkote. Let's start with layer this time. Same things, place it once, place it twice, place it the third time, and then go to gefüllt, place the Attika, and then place one here, and place one here. Go AL for align them together. just select this and move it to the right. Also, this goes up, this goes down, this goes up again, and let's be sure they're aligned together. Yes, that's perfect. Now, I want to close this out. Let's check out if everything is nicely done. AA is open. Let's open BB, and then let's open Erdgeschoss, and let's open 3D. So I go WT. This looks nice. My BB section looks nice. My AA section looks also nice. And my Grundriss also looks great. Thank you for watching. I hope this is going to be helpful, because this was by far what we have learned. You can just ask your questions by mail to me, same as before. Thank you for watching.